Hello, my name is Christine Taylor,
I'm Jimmy Taylor.
my dear husband, and I have multiple myeloma. Had it for 6 years now. And about 6 years ago, I was told I had a year to live, was told I needed a bone marrow transplant. And after hearing the description and what I would have to go through, I said, I can't do that. And I decided I wanted to do something that would be so horrifying. Anything else. So I researched very hard and looked into Germany, Mexico, the Bahamas, and Switzerland, to all different kinds of clinics. And I realized that the United States doesn't offer what other countries of the world do. So, anyway, to narrow it down, I came up with the Bahamas, and that was mainly because they were the only ones that would give me names of patients that I could call up, and I can say, you have multiple myeloma, tell me about the IAT clinic and what happened to you. And that's what they did. They gave me names of patients, I called them. All the other clinics would say, oh no, that's too personal information, we can't do that. The Bahamas, they said, how many names you want? And what kind of cancer you have, and they didn't, they were wonderful. And after I got off the phone with the very first man who had lived for 18 years at that time, Pat, and now it's 20 years with multiple myeloma, which really you're not supposed to live more than 1 to 3 years. Only doing the IAT shots, I got off the phone, I said to my husband, I'm going. And what did you think, honey?
How do we know they aren't actors? How do we know that they didn't pay these people to just say this stuff to you? And I'm so sorry to have been so cynical and skeptical and everything, because really once we came down here, that all melted away, because it's apparent the very first time that you're not in an American cancer ward where everybody's lost their hair and looks like zombies. And that made such a difference to you, right?
Yeah, I think that was one of the things that made me realize I can't do that. And then they couldn't even guarantee me how much more I'd have to live after I go through this living hell. Um, and so I said, I don't want to do that. And when I came here, I found a waiting room full of people talking and laughing about, actually, it was Johnny Depp who was doing Pirates of the Caribbean at the time. So the excitement in the waiting room was unbelievable. And I thought, I'm in the wrong waiting room because these can't be cancer patients. Nobody was talking about cancer. So then they said, oh, are you new? Welcome. And everybody just kind of helped me and said, here's my story, here's my story. I've lived for 5 years, I've lived for 10 years, I've lived for 20 years. And I'm saying, these guys can't all be actors. They can't afford to hire this many actors. And, now when I go, I'm one of the people that says, I've lived 5 years. I wasn't supposed to. So right now I am doing 2 treatments a year. I started out by doing 3, now it's 2. And so I come down to the Bahamas twice a year for 2 weeks. And my husband joins me. And we have second and third honeymoons here. we we play in the water. I mean, we go to the clinic in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And then we play and bob in the water in the beautiful ocean.
It's a very fun, healing experience just to get up every day and experience the island. Island life is like
Yes.
there's no rush. And that's not a bad thing if you're dealing with a horrible disease, I guess. And surrounded by other people who are feeling the same way. Everybody's relaxing. Everybody's,
Yeah.
it's so different. We've walked into oncology wards in the States, and you can tell who's the patient and who's the spouse immediately. I mean, it's easy. With us, you can't tell.
And my husband has said to me many, many times, thank you so much for making the decision you did.
Yeah, doing it the way you did it. Yeah, I mean, when we came down here, I was lifting her into cars, and she could barely walk, and that was 5 years ago, the first time. And the effect was nearly immediate, and her numbers went the right way for a long time
Yeah.
and then plateaued, and she's, I think, by any measure, uh, a healthy specimen.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm unbelievable. I never had any side effects. I never had anything. I always say, you know what, you can always do, you can always put poison in your body. You can always do chemo. Do that later. Try something that's not going to poison you while it fights your
And
cancer.
do irreparable harm.
And yeah, yeah. And you know, I really encourage people to do that. And if you're watching this video right now and you're kind of vacillating about it, or you feel anything at all, um, uh, any questions at all, you can call me and I'll be glad to talk to you and tell you everything I've been through and give you details or whatever you want to know. Um, I want, I feel like it's the least I can do to give back for the fact that I have not suffered with cancer. I have not suffered with a horrible cancer.